Hello again everybody, it's Mark here from GrimtreeGames.com, online game store and blog, and we're going to do a game overview of Mars Attacks. Hooray. So let's have a look at the box. Mars Attacks with the Martian, people panicking, all good. For Mantic Games obviously, and it is 2 players, 30 to 60 minutes. Like I'd have done the little Martian player there. So cool. Okay, so what is it? It is a board game with a hint of a war game, miniature kind of a game. That makes sense. So Mantic do Dead Zone. Dead Zone is it's like a hobby game. You build the minis, like war gaming basically, but it's done on a board with squares to try and make it a little bit more board game-esque. Well, this is the same but boiled down even further. They've taken the rules right down to the basics to try and make it as easy, make it like a board game. We can pop out 30 to 60 minutes, give it a play, have a laugh, put it away again, job done. So, how does it play? That's a good question, so I'll tell you, because I like good questions. It's relatively easy, to be honest. So what we'll do is we'll step you through a few turns, give you an idea as to how it plays. So, first of all, sides. Human defenders are these guys. So this is just the basic scenario, the starting scenario. There's no fancy conditions. It's just plain victory points. And we've got the US Marine Corps people. And quite cool. So again, they're all one-piece miniatures. You don't have to make anything. They try to make it as easy as possible for your average board gamer or gamer, you know, just to pick up the game, play it. You don't need to glue minis. It's all done for you. So in this scenario, we're using these US Marine type figures, which that one, I love that one. It's awesome. However, in future games, in future scenarios, you have a bunch of civilians, which are like, that's the thing, it's like the average Joe that's the hero. It's not necessarily the soldiers, like in the film, or like in sci-fi films in general, really. It's like the soldiers tend to be the cannon fodder. It's the unknown Joe, you know, that sort of saves the day. Same kind of thing. So you've got characters, guy with crossbow, girl with gun, and they've all got their own backstories, and it's all quite pulpy, you know. Is that crazy hillbilly with a machine gun maybe? So that's all quite cool. Anyway, we're not playing with those right now. We're just playing with the standard grunts. Might have a guy missing there. I think I've put a guy back by accident. Was missing in action. Oh, there he's hiding behind the wall. So, human defenders, Martians. Cool, eh? Now you may notice that their brains are exposed. Oh, that's because I haven't put on the helmets. This copy of the game is sort of a bit of a pre-release, so obviously it's not out. It's not. Kickstarters are going out very soon, I believe, and it'll be on distributed release soon also. But this was just we went to a trade event recently, so we ran a demo game of it, so we're getting this video done at the same time. So anyway, it's Mantic's game. It's got to go back to Mantic. So I didn't want to put these on in case they needed gluing or whatever, but if you have a look, those little domes fit on his little head. So if you're going to paint them first, then put them on, I imagine. It's cool anyway. So we know the sides. So what we need to do is at the start of the game, each player needs 4 cards. I'll show you the cards. The cards are split into 2. The greeny bit is for the human defenders, but the same card. The red bit is for the Martians, which is quite cool. It means you can choose one deck. You're both playing from the same deck. So what happens is there's different things on there which I will tell you about when we get to them. So 4 cards each. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now if you have any cards that are all purple, like that one, they don't go in your starting deck, so put that down. So get another one so you don't have a purple one. So 4 cards there, and 1, 2, 3, 4 cards for the human defenders. I'll show you the cards in a bit more detail once we've got the game going. So Martians go first in this scenario. That changes depending on the scenario. It tells you in the book. There's 10 scenarios all told when you get playing. So Martians go first. Then you can activate 2 guys. Okay, you activate one and you activate another, or you can activate 1 guy and play a card from your hand. Some cards affect 1 person. Some cards affect. I'll show you, it's probably easier. So anything that's got a little star at the top means it's played in your turn. Anything that's got a little enemy symbol means it can be played in the enemy's turn. So for example, you just shot a Martian as a gooder, you can reduce his survival roll, so bear that in mind. Anyway, so there's lots of things and they all do lots of things. Obviously I'm not going to go through every single thing. Support. In fact, we'll go through these. We'll go through these in a minute. We'll just have a standard turn first. So I'm going to activate 2 guys. So first guy, when you activate a person, you can do 2 things. You can move and move, so do 2 squares, or you can move and shoot, or you can aim and shoot, or if you've been rattled, which means you're on the deck, you can stand up and then do something. So in this scenario, if you kill the enemy, 1 victory point. If you kill the enemy in hand to hand, 2 victory points. If you uncover one of these little tokens that you can see that's scattered around the battlefield, there's 8 all told. 4 have got an enemy, an alien Martian intel symbol on. The human defenders want those. The other 4 have got little paws on, which means the critters that the aliens, the Martians, keep saying aliens, the Martians want to experiment on. Anyway, so I'm going to go pick the first guy, 2 actions, 1, 2. Oh no, I tell a lie, I start deployed. I can choose any square here to deploy on. The Marines in this scenario walk onto the board. So I could go 1, 2. Now all these have been placed randomly before the cameras were rolling. So you know, you could get lucky like there. So that's 2. Now to go to get it, you just step on it, flip it. If it's yours, which it is, it's the critters. Yeah, that's one of mine that I need. I get a victory point. And next one, flip it. Ooh, it's another critter. So that's 2 victory points. Yay! And then he's done his 2 things. He's activated. Put the activation counter next to him, so I know that he's already been. So the next guy, I'm gonna go 1, 2. Now, when you're moving, you can move anywhere. You might not be able to see on the big camera, but if you notice, there's a grid on the board. Yeah, so the squares. So each square is a square you can move. Now, if you look, I've put myself there, but I can go anywhere in that square as long as the centre of my base isn't over that line. I can put myself anywhere on that square. Now, the reason for that is it's a board game, but it uses line of sight like a miniatures game. So say if, for example, this guy was here, okay, shooting, that blocks line of sight. Even if it only blocks it slightly, it still blocks line of sight. So if I was here, and again, you know, this is the same square. So this square, so if I was here, block line of sight, it's using cover, and there I can see everything, so I get a bonus dice. So where you go in the square is important. So don't just put yourself in the middle. If you can find cover, use it. So anyway, 1, 2, activated. Now, Martians have a range of 4 on their gun. The human defenders of the Marines have a range of 6. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move to there with this guy, which lets me flip that, and it's alien intel, so he gets a rich point. And then he's going to shoot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now then, can I? No, good. So I can see him, but not entirely. Is partially blocked. If I could see him entirely, if he was out in the open, I'd get a bonus dice to my roll. But I don't, so it's just a normal roll. So normal roll, any kind of check in this game, is 3 dice, 3 8-sided dice, and you need to get over whatever amount it specifies in the stats. So I'll show you the stat blocks for the two. So we've got the Marines here, the human soldiers. We've got shoot, fight, survive, the range of the weapon, heroics, hero points, which matters if we're playing that, but we're not. That's the advanced. Well, that's the main rules. And then Martian grunt with disintegration rifle, shoot 4+4, fight +4, survive 6, range 1-4, armor. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm just going to want to shoot. So shoot is 5+. So we're going to roll 3 dice, and anything that scores 5 or more is a success. Okay. Okay. So let's move them up. So 2 failures, and the 8 is classed as a success, but also we get to roll again because it's an 8. And we can keep on going if we get another 8. So 1 success, 6. So that's 2 successes. Now the Martians have armor, which means that it gets rid of one of those successes. So it's just 2 successes now, 1 success. So the Martian does a standard survive check, which is 3 dice, and they need 6+. Okay, 6+. So 3 dice, 6 or more. Oh, easy doing it. So 8 and an 8. Roll it again. 7. Oh, crumbs. So yeah, 3 successes against his 1. Did we say? Yeah. So if he got more successes than I got successes in survive, everyone more is a wound, but you only need 1 wound, and he would have been dead. But he's not dead. He's still alive. Hooray! Hooray for the aliens. Martians. So he's moved and he's shot, so I'll put that there. Now, if he hadn't moved first, he could have aimed and then shot, which would have given him an extra dice. So it would have been 4 dice, 5 or more. If the Martian would have been in the open as well, that's another dice, so it would have been 5 dice. So all the modifiers are done on dice, which makes it easier, makes it a bit quicker. So he's been. Now then, we're going to bring on the machine gun. So he's going to move on and he's going to shoot. Now he has a special ability called covering fire. Now the civilians have lots of abilities. In fact, I'll show you in the book. There's quite a few pages of funky things that characters can do that bend the rules slightly. Brave, fixing stuff, follow me. It's a bit hard to read on the table contents, but basically, obviously it spices the game. Everybody can do something slightly different. And this guy has got covering fire. And what covering fire means is you pick 3 squares within range. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Pick 3 adjacent squares within range, and without having to roll, you rattle anybody in those squares. So it'd be basically lying down. What rattled means is you can't do anything until you stand up first. Standing up takes an action. So basically now, on their turn they'd have to stand up and then move, or stand up and shoot. So you're denying them an action basically. So it's slowing them down, keeping the heads down, which is good if you're trying to flank somebody or get the jump on somebody or go into hand to hand with somebody, which I will tell you about shortly. So he's done that, moved, shot, activated, my go. So I'm going to go 1, 2, to there. They've only got a range of 4, so I can't shoot anybody anyway. Nobody's out here. So I've gone to 4 there, which means I can turn that over. Now that's alien intel. No good to me. It stays there. If the US Marines can get it, it's a victory point for them. Put the activation card next to it. Now then, do I want to use? In fact, I'm going to cheat slightly and find a card. Here we go. Find a card. I'm going to engineer a situation. So I've just moved the guy. Now what I can do is I can play a card and move a guy. That's what I want to do. So let's say I had this in my hand. This is a support card. Now what support cards do is you play them and it does nothing, or you can't use it that turn you've played it, but you can use it in subsequent turns. And some of them stack. So this is Heat Ray. Targeted, single square, +3 shoot attack. So 3 dice. Well, sorry, well, look at the card. If you've just got one card, it's 2 dice. 3 or more are successes, then they've got to roll their survive, as we have done previously. However, if you, in subsequent turns, instead of moving a person, play another support card down, and it's a Heat Ray, and you build up to either 2 cards or 3 cards, you get more dice, like 6 dice, if I had all 3 cards. So what I'm going to do is I've moved that guy, and for my second thing onto this turn is put a card down. Put a support card down. Now there are other support cards that don't necessarily build up. This one, clear shot bonuses against Martian models do not apply while this is in play. So in other words, even if you have no cover, you can just be walking down the street, brazen, and you still get a cover bonus. So that's cool. So I'm going to do that. I've done that. Excellent. US Marines. Let's do another shot, shall we? So we'll go 1 to there and shoot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's in range, but he's in cover. He's not in the open. I can't see all of him, so it's just a normal 3. I've not aimed. 5 plus is 2 hits. Got armor on. 1 hit's negated straight away, so 1 hit. Normal roll. 3 dice. Survives are 6 plus. Oh, 8. So 1 success, 1 wound. It's fine. They're doing okay, the Martians, on this little demo game, because usually they have unlucky rolls. So anyway, so then I put a little thing next to him, and then I move another guy, or I could play a card. In this case, I'll play a guy, and I'll do another one here. So 1 there, and remember you can have up to 6 people in a square. Okay, so he's going to roll 3 dice, 8. So only 1 success. Martian, he's had a success. Let's say, for instance, he had no successes, or rather, let's say the shooter had 3 successes and the Martian had none. When all you need is 1 success more to kill the other unit. So combat is usually quite harsh. I'm just having very good rolls as the Martian. So yeah. And then in this scenario, a dead unit would be a victory point. I keep doing that to table cam. Victory point. So we keep going. Move 2 people, move 2 people, move 2 people, move 2 people, until everybody's gone and got activation counters next to them. Okay. So let's, for argument's sake, let's say we're all out here somewhere. So we've all been activated. Now, I've got less people than the US forces, so once I've finished moving my guys, when it comes back to me and the human defenders can still go, I can play cards instead of moving because I've run out of people. Okay, if I wanted to. So you keep going until everybody's gone. Then at the end, you get to ditch some cards if you want. So let's have a look at the cards I've got here. So mind control, resolve a set of opponent support cards that are in play. So you know how we've got this here. Okay, so the Marines have a similar card for like artillery strike. So what I could do is I could play mind control. This is in my usual turn. I could have played mind control and I could have used it against them, which is pretty cool. Got a couple of those. Reinforcements arrive. I can bring on a new. Which one do I want to get? I don't want to get rid of any of those, so I'll keep all those. Just as an example. Let's say that we've got a American player, choose a Martian. That Martian is marked as active because he's found some kittens to play with, which is quite good. Discard one card that you've, so I could get rid of a support card that was down. So let's say, I don't know, it's only 4 at a time. Let's say I've discarded one of those. Anyway, the point I'm trying to get to is at the end of the turn, the player who went first can discard cards and draw. Same with the player. When you're pulling those cards out though, if you get a purple card, it's an event that you have to resolve. So let's see. Let's look at one of them. So this is one of the events that could occur. So say I've discarded cards, I've picked up this first. Mutant bug. What this does is we pick a random square, and wherever it lands, if there's somebody on any Martian or human, if it where it lands, it fights them. If it wins, it carries them off into the horizon. So we go. So it's a random square. So 1 to 8, 1, 1 to 8, 1, 2. Oh dear. That lands there, and then it will fight. Now then, it basically just keeps on fighting. If it landed somewhere else and there's nobody there, it stays on the board. At the end of each turn, you roll a scatter dice to see where it just hops around the board, trying to pick people up and fly off with them. Now there's a lot of those event cards that do random things that really make it unpredictable but fun as well, because there's crazy things happening. Oh, there's Martians running down the street, you know. So there's crazy things like burning cows that thunder down the road, and all kinds of crazy stuff happens that makes it a bit interesting. So anyway, so what have we done? So we've had a turn, we've ditched some cards, we've pulled some cards, any events that we've resolved, and you keep going. If you keep pulling events, you keep resolving the events. And then you do your next turn, so you take all the activation counters off, and then you do your next turn. So let's say next turn. So next turn, the person who has the fewer units, or the person who finishes activating first, goes first on the next round. Essentially, the person who has the fewer units, essentially, gives you that advantage having the fewer units. So I'd go first. So these are rattled, pain in the bum. So I'd have to stand up first, which is an action, and then move or shoot or whatever. 1, 2, 3, 4. So range of 4, I can't hit him. Probably the best thing I could do was move up into cover so I could hit him next time, but I'm still in cover. Hand to hand. Let's cover hand to hand. So let's say we skipped ahead a few turns and Mr. US Soldier has gone into the square 2 hand to hand. Now it's pretty much the same. You roll 3 dice and you've got to get over whatever your stat is. So for a soldier, fight is 4+, which is pretty good. Okay. Now if you've just charged somebody, if you've moved into that square, you get like a charge bonus. You get an extra dice. Also, if you have one of your guys, one or more of your guys in that square, you get another dice. So the thing to do is to try and initiate the attack and also outnumber them. Anyway, let's say it was a normal fight. I've gone in for the first time, so it's 4 dice. So roll 4 dice, and it's 4 pluses. So 1, 2, 3. It's got an 8, so roll again. 4 hits. Now, been a bit ahead of myself there. What the defender has to do first is the defender has to decide, do they want to do a survive roll, which is just, I'll survive the attack. If I get more successes, I've survived it. Or do they want to do a fight roll, and if they get more successes, they actually do a wound back. Now, this starting scenario, the fight is 5+ for a Martian and 4+ for a Marine, and the survive is 6+. So in this one, you're going to go for the fight because you've got more chance of getting it anyway. However, some of the other characters, the civilians, their survive is better. So you're going to want to do that, but potentially, you know, there's more likelihood of surviving than fighting. So you'd want to roll a survive, and you got to decide that before you'd roll. in theory. So that's 4 hits. Okay, so my Martian decided to fight, and my fight is 5 plus. Did I say 5 plus? Ooh, 18 and 18 and 6. Oh, why can't I get these dice rolls usually? Anyway, so that beats. I think, did I get a 4? Well, it's late. I'm losing track, and I think I got 5 there for the early. Anyway, so that fight roll, if I get more successes, I kill him, Grimmer, okay? And in this scenario, hand-to-hand is 2 victory points. So hand-to-hand can be quite brutal. The Marines are better than the aliens. Being rattled also as well. If you're rattled, you can only roll survive. So if the Marine had charged, this unit, he'd have done 4 plus. So he'd have rolled. Let's use table kill, so you can see what's going on. So he rolls 3 dice plus 1 for charging, and it's 5 plus, so that's 3 hits. Oh my word! What's going on with these dice? 4 hits. So 4 hits. Now, because the Martian is rattled, he can only do a survive throw, which is 6 plus. Okay, so 3 dice. Did he get 4 hits? My brain's going Swiss cheese. I think he got 4 hits, so I get 3 dice. I've got armour, so take one of his hits off, so it's 3 hits. So I'd have to get 6 plus on all these to survive. No. And even if I got more, I'm having to do a survival roll because I'm rattled. Now then, as soon as a rattled person stands up, so say it's back to the Martian's turn, as soon as he stands up on his action, he spends an action and stands up, he's immediately got to fight. So 2 units in the same square are always fighting. There's no breaking off, there's no backing off. You're basically just in there until somebody cops it, basically. So I guess one tactic is you could use the heavy machine gunner to rattle people and then rush in whilst they're down, so they're having to roll their survive throws. So that's a potential tactic there. So I think those are the basic rules. It's all tight. It all comes down to 3 dice, 3-sided dice, getting whatever a fixed number or above. You add dice on for an advantage, such as aiming or being having full line of sight, not being in cover, charging, or having a mate with you in hand to hand. So they try to keep it pretty easy, really. And I think the core of the game is easy, but the thing that makes it interesting are the cards. And it gives it the flavour, because Mars Attacks it's a bit mental anyway, isn't it? For being honest, it's a bit crazy. So they've tried to have the random events that occur as crazy as possible. So you've seen the mutant bug. Let's have a look at some of the others that can come into play. So there's the cows that rampage onto the battlefield and just randomly run around trampling people, which is pretty cool. Rubble, random square. If there's any terrain in it, it collapses, rattling people. So you just lose cover randomly. Unfriendly fire. Pick a random square. All units in that square and all 8 adjacent are hit with 5 dice plus 5 shoot attack. In fact, that has happened in one of our games. So there you go. Pretty grim. Flying car, that's pretty cool. Massive robot lobs a flying car across the battlefield. It bounces on alternate squares, squishing people. If it lands, a car just appears in the battlefield as a bit of cover. You've seen a mutant bug, so there's lots of cool events, but also, lots of things happening on the card. So I'll find another one. What's this one? Survive. harassing fire. Each effective model rolls a 1 survive test. If they fail, they are rattled. Partly random blast targeted blast. So you know, there's a lot of flavour on the cards, and there's a lot of tactics and extra bits on the cards that spice up the gameplay. And like I say, when you play the latest scenarios, I'll show you one of them. When you play the latest scenarios, there's like a little bit of a backstory, different setups, different victory conditions, and they all follow a story, which is good. Makes you want your guy not to die a little bit more if you know his backstory. So that's about it, I think. Quick to play, slim down rules, nice and easy, lots of random, wacky, sci-fi, pulpy explosions. All good. So there we go. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it's been informative. Subscribe to the channel. We've got loads of the videos like this, and unboxing videos, and our one last round show where we go to a club, play games, come back and talk about it. Follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook, and also visit our online store, because that'd be awesome. Come and buy some nice things from us. Helps us keep on doing stuff like this. So there we go. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.